Hi everyone, Sandra here. In this video, I am going to describe to you the exact process that I went through to find the condo that Dave and I rented here in Mexico. I've had a lot of questions about that, and there's really not that much to it, but I'm gonna cover every detail of it, explain to y'all the process that we underwent, and yeah, how we found our condo. I've done a video tour of our condo, and so I will leave a link to that in the description down beneath this video if you want to go check it out. All right, let's get started. I thought I'd come outside. I'm here at the condo plex that we live in, and I've shown this place many times in various vlogs, but I figured I would walk around here on the grounds to do this video. This place has 4 swimming pools, and there's one that's larger, and then there are 3 more that are about the size of this one. Anyway, each swimming pool has its own little area, little covered patio thing like this. The grounds are completely enclosed by this great big fence that you see here, and they're beautiful. I mean, there's groundskeepers that keep the lawn done, and they take care of a lot of the plants. Right now we are just coming out of the dry season, so the grass is a little bit more brown than it is at other times of the year, but that's all about to change, I imagine, as we continue to get more and more rain. This place will turn super green and very, very lush. I would like to apologize. You may notice that my voice sounds a little bit hoarse. I had a touch of something. I don't know what it was, but it really affected my voice, and my voice got really scratchy and stuff. So I'm getting over that now, and still sounding a little rough, but oh well. Let's go ahead. Dave and I came down here to the Lake Chapala area. We drove in June of 2020, and we decided to come down here and rent a place and live for a year in about a week's time. Honestly, we had just returned from several months in Baja, Mexico, where we'd been living in our truck camper. We were actually there whenever the pandemic became a thing, and we stayed down there for a while. Then we came back to Texas and were there for about a month, I guess. Due to various circumstances in our lives, we decided that we wanted to return to Mexico, but we wanted maybe to explore mainland Mexico, maybe come down here and try it out, because we've been to Baja several times. Anyway, so really and honestly, we decided in about a week. So I got on the internet and I started to research the options that might be available for us to find some place to live. One of the things that was extremely helpful to me was Facebook. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, and I don't really have a personal account there anymore. I do have an account, but I have it kind of under like a different name, and I don't post anything there. I simply have the account so that I am able to access the parts of Facebook that I do find useful, which are the groups. There are groups that people form, and I have found them like in all kinds of areas. Like, there are groups that are related to the Baja Peninsula, and then there are groups that are related to like the social scene here in Lake Chapala, and then there are groups that are exclusively for real estate, for rentals. So I can't stress enough how much this is going to be helpful to you in your quest to find a place and find out things about the area. So if you are not on Facebook, just make an account. You don't have to upload a lot of photos to it or anything. You don't really have to be active on it, but do it so that you can get access to these groups on Facebook. And that is where we found this condo that we've been living in. There were a lot of rentals. I mean, a lot. I probably looked at hundreds of them, and I'm not even joking. The price range for rentals, it ranged anywhere from $350 US per month all the way up to, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, there were some places that were over $5,000 a month. We're talking great big huge multi-bedroom, bathroom mansions, basically. Our budget was probably around like $600 or less US per month was the top end of what we wanted to spend, and there were plenty of options that I saw that fit that. The type of house, what came with it, the utilities, whether or not they were included, those varied. There were some places that were $350 a month that included all the utilities. That means water, gas, electric, and sometimes even internet. So you just have to get on there and start comparing things, and you know, finding what you are looking for. There were studio apartments, and then there are houses that are just enormous, you know, huge, that definitely weren't in our price range, but you know, I'm just trying to give an idea of what is available. On the Facebook groups postings that I viewed, I contacted several people through there, and everyone was very responsive. Like, I don't think there was one time that I tried to contact someone about a property to ask them questions or whatever, and I didn't get a response pretty quickly. And everyone seemed to be able to at least communicate in English perfectly fine. There was no problem with that. Some of the rentals were through like sort of listing agents, and others were listed by kind of individual people. So, I mean, there's a variety in there of who is making these listings. I'm over by the biggest swimming pool at this condo plex where we have been living. This is the one that Dave and I come swim in the most. Other than Facebook, I also just used Google, and I searched for realtors and rentals in Ajijic, Lake Chapala, Hocotepec, Chapala, the town. These were all terms that I used that yielded results for me of various realtor businesses that have multiple listings for not only houses for sale, but also for rent. If you just get on Google and you look at a map of Lake Chapala, you will see all of the little towns that surround this lake. Just go on there and search using the name of the town, real estate, realtors, rental, and you will find these businesses that have these listings and stuff available. As I said before, the place that we found was through Facebook. You know, if you're not going to be on there, or you don't want to use the internet, you're just going to make it a lot more difficult for yourself. I mean, these are really important tools for me. I have been using the internet for years for all sorts of things. You know, I use this powerful tool that enables you to just like really reach out there and find out so much more information. That is what I suggest. I mean, seriously, the Facebook thing, you're gonna get at least twice as many options that you're gonna have available to you that you can look at and see than if you just go with like looking at the realtors in the area. Well, I had kind of scoped out the fact that there were many options, and so I felt really comfortable that we would be able to get here and find something. I connected with a few of the different people who, through the various listings that I was interested in the most, but we drove down here with nothing finalized. When we got here, we had rented an Airbnb. So I did this prior to us leaving Texas. I found an Airbnb in Ajijic. There are absolutely dozens and dozens of Airbnbs in this area. If you're not familiar with Airbnb, it is an online website where individuals can list like their private properties for rent. I found a place and I rented it for a week, and that's where Dave and I landed basically whenever we got here. So we figured that would give us enough time to be able to go and see in person some of these potential places. And it just turned out that the first place that we went and looked at was the place that we were like, we don't need to see any place else. This place is it for us. It's got everything that we want. And we just felt really good about it. So we went ahead and said yes, we wanted to rent the place. The condo that we rented is owned by some people who live in Guadalajara. They had listed it through a very small kind of realtor listing agent. We coordinated with the agent, who actually came and picked us up and drove us to the condo the first time when we were going there to look. And the owner of the condo met us there. We viewed the place. We told him, yes, we want to rent it. And then we scheduled at that time when we wanted to move in. So we moved in here on the last day of June in 2020. The owners met us along with the realtor, or the agent, the rental agent, at the condo, and they had all of the paperwork. And it was just like a regular lease. Like, I'm familiar with, I've rented places, apartments and stuff in the United States, and it's nothing really that different from what is typical for that. And we had to pay first month's, last month's, and a security deposit in the amount of our rent at the time that we signed the lease. They went over, like, our condo came with like all these things in it, like cookware and everything. So they had a list, itemized list of everything that was in the condo. And we went around and agreed, to that list, and we both signed it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say really about the rental agreement. Like I said, it was very typical. It's common sense kind of stuff, right? It's that, if you damage the place and you can't sublet it, and it outlines what you're responsible for versus what they are responsible for. We did not have to have any sort of rental insurance or anything like that. Some places may require you to have that. A lot is going to depend on who it is that you are renting from. So the situation may vary a bit dependent on that. I'm sitting outside of our condo right now. This is the front porch, front door of the condo. So yeah, we were perfectly comfortable and totally fine with all of the paperwork and stuff. That it seemed totally reasonable to us. We moved in that very day, and our landlords were awesome. They've been awesome. I mean, I don't know what other people's experience is going to be like that, but you need to find out, obviously, what's going to be included. For us, the internet was included in the price of our rent. The homeowners association fee, because this is inside of a community, a gated community, and there's a maintenance fee for the lawn and all of those kinds of things. So that also was included with the rent. And the water was included with our rent. We had to pay our own electric bill, and we also had to pay for our propane. The electric bill, it was set up in the name of our landlord, and that stayed the same. We'd never put it in our name. We just agreed that we were responsible to pay for it, and that was included in the lease paperwork. It's super simple. Some birds out here. It was super simple for us to pay. The electric is through a company called CFE. Every month, or every 2 months actually, the electric bill comes and they deliver it to the front gate. And then when we pass through the gate, the guys at the front gate would just give it to us. The electrical was very easy for us to pay. There may be a way for you to pay it online. I was never successful in being able to. I am able to pay for our Mexican cell phone online, but for some reason it just would not accept my payment for the electrical. So instead what we did was we went to a bank. There you can go up to like an ATM and pay certain bills, and it's like a touch screen and it's all pretty straightforward. I had never done that before, and the first time I went, I wasn't quite sure how to access all of the information on there. And I just told a lady at the bank that, you know, I needed some help, and she came over and showed me exactly how to do it. And after that, I was able to do it by myself, and each time it only took me like 5 minutes or whatever. You just go in and you say, I want to pay my electric bill. It's got the name of the electric company, and then it asks for the account number, the amount that you're going to be paying, and then there's like a little feeding device there, and you can just stick cash money right into it. I don't know about paying with a debit or a credit card because I never tried to do that. And as far as the propane went, we have a propane tank on top of the roof, and once a month we call the propane guy, let him know that we need some, and he would show up, fill it for us, and we paid him cash. You know, our experience was very smooth, and I've listened to other people describe their experience of renting places, and that seems to be fairly normal. You know, like, people don't have a lot of problems from my experience or what I've seen in renting places here in Lake Chapala area, at least. You know, as far as the pricing goes, when I was looking at rentals, the prices were listed. It's not like you call up and negotiate what the rent is going to be. There never seemed to be any indication that we were getting like charged extra or anything, or someone was trying to charge us extra because we were from the United States. Yeah, everything was very straightforward. So like I said before, I've seen rentals, and I just looked recently too at the same Facebook groups that I talked about and the realtors down here that list rentals, and there are still many, many rentals that range in price from $350 a month all the way up to, you know, as much as you can afford, really. So yeah, I don't think that anyone should have a real problem finding a place. You know, of course, if you have pets, Dave and I don't have any animals, and that opens up a lot more possibility for us because some places don't accept pets. So that's something you're gonna have to think about if, you know, you have a dog or a cat or something like that. It may be a little more difficult. You may have less options. I think I've really covered everything that I can share with you about the experience that we had. Like I said, it was very quick. We decided we were gonna leave our property in Texas in a week, and we did, and we drove down here. I had done some research beforehand, and I felt comfortable that it was gonna be okay, like we would be able to find a place. Everything was very straightforward and went down the best way possible, really. Of course, your circumstances may vary, from ours. Your situation, you're going to be dealing possibly with different people, so maybe your experience will be different. Ours was smooth, and we had no problems. I would feel comfortable doing the same thing again. I could come down here and with no place lined up and be pretty confident that I'm going to find a place. Something I'm going to add is that once we got down here and we started going out into the community and stuff, of course we had our place, but like we joined a gym and we had people at the gym asking us, you need a place to live? Do you need a place to rent? I know someone who has something, you know what I mean? So if you come down here and you start kind of just asking around and letting people know that you're looking for a place too, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of people trying to rent things. You can drive through any of these towns and there will be signs on buildings, on apartments and stuff that says, se rente, se renta, for rent. So, I don't think that just from what I've seen, that it's that difficult to find a place to rent and live in here in Lake Chapala, especially if you're flexible. I mean, Dave and I, for us, a requirement was to have really good internet, and that seems to be, the internet in this area seems to be very good. I've heard some people online complaining about internet outages and things like that. Where we're at, we live on the more western end of the lake. We have high-speed internet. It's fiber optic, and we've had a few times whenever the internet was down, but I mean, I don't know. Even in Texas where we live, we've had problems with our internet, so I think it's just part of that. Maybe it wasn't a problem, you know. It always was sorted out. So yeah. Anyway, that's what I have to share with you about this experience of coming down here and renting a property. I hope that what I have told you here is helpful. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below, and I will do my best to answer them for you. All right. Thank you for listening to me. Bye, y'all.